a decision, they always choose what feels right. So the goal of any project that we undertake is to learn what right feels like, and then help our clients design their offering so that it feels right at every touch point. We do that by answering 4 questions. How do people feel? How do they want to feel? How do we close the gap? How do we as marketers get in and close the gap between how they want to feel and how they do feel? And then how do we present that in a compelling way? Now I'm going to turn this over to our client Phil, who's going to talk about tractors and the ecologies of farming. Thank you, Phil.
So we are AGCO Corporation. You don't know the brand, you don't know the name AGCO Corporation. You may know some of our brands like Massey Ferguson. We came out of what was Dallas Chalmers, a conglomerate that went bust in '85, and then proceeded to buy up everything inside. We've got about 25 different deals. So we're about $7 billion, or this is last year's number, about $7+ billion this year, and growing. So as our chairman likes to say, we're in the business of providing high-tech solutions for farmers feeding the world. So as we do this, we're largely burning diesel fuel to do it. You know, every tractor basically that's involved in agriculture, every combine, every windrow and so forth, basically it's got a diesel engine. Now when that happens, we produce emissions, right? And emissions are the bad guys. Nitrogen oxide, particulates, create smog, greenhouse gases, all those bad things you read about in the paper, right? And the EPA has something to say about that, right? So as you're feeding the world, and increasingly, you know, we're heading towards 9 billion population by 2050, societies are becoming, you know, more wealthy, and they want more protein in their diet, so they're consuming more animal products and so forth, right? So all that is putting more and more demand on agriculture to produce more and more, and God hasn't created any more land. You may have noticed that, right? So we just got to get more and more productivity out of the land we have. So as we do that, we get into burning all this diesel fuel, the EPA saying, hey, but what about all the problems associated with that? So that's where we come in with technology. And this process really is all about managing trade-offs, right? So as we meet EPA requirements around emissions, we got to do it in a way that makes sense for the farmer. So it's about managing costs, it's about fuel consumption, all those kinds of things. So in 2009, we brought out a new technology to help us do that, all right? The good news about this technology, it absolutely was great in terms of meeting the EPA emissions requirements. In fact, everybody has to do that. That's sort of like the threshold, right? That's when the conversation really starts then. So the question is, how well do you do that in terms of managing these trade-offs, right? So we came with this technology. It absolutely complies with EPA regulations. It's very green, right? So this should be a phone called cinch, right? A piece of cake to market, but we were smart enough to figure out there's more to it than that, and that's when we brought Bill in.
To attack this problem. One, we have an online tool, a quantitative tool called Be Frank. We ask people to choose pictures that express how they feel. We ask a question: if your farm could be perfectly, ecologically perfect, how would you feel? So we're able to sort this information, we're able to sort this data, and we're able to create charts, and I'll show you one in a minute, that shows the gap between how people want to feel and how they do feel. The other technique we used, we call a create debate group. Now, a create debate group is like two parallel focus groups. We don't do focus groups, but we do create debate groups. In a create debate group, in this case, we got a set of farmers, had them create collages that expressed how they wanted to feel about having a perfect farm. The debate part is we have them go across the hall to another focus group that's full of a bunch of other farmers, and we have them pick the ideas apart. And we sit behind glass and listen. And it's in this interaction that we get a lot of really good information. We learned, for example, that farmers already know all about emission technology. Unfortunately, everything they know is wrong. But they already know about emission control technology and they don't like it. They're convinced it's going to make for less powerful tractors, it's going to cost them more in fuel. They've heard that these things overheat and they'll catch the barn on fire. Everybody wants a cleaner world, but nobody wants to pay 20% more for their food. Farmers are stuck in the middle, and they are. Farmers also believe they're already as green as they need to be. Farmers are stewards of the land. They would say to us, if we don't take care of the land, we're out of business. Who says we're not taking care of it? Keep the EPA out of here. Don't tell us how to comply with the EPA. They're good stewards of the land. They want to be what we christened eco-rational. They want to be ecologically sound, but they want to be rational about it. They don't believe in tree hugging and that kind of thing. They want to feel like astute business people, and they want to be practically profitable. We call this a gap map. And what it does is it allows us to quantify and compare the relative strengths of emotivation, where we discovered the biggest gaps between how people wanted to feel and how they felt typically were in these areas: stewards of the land and eco-rational. This is one of the introductory ads, Nobody Loves the Earth More Than a Farmer. We didn't do these ads, they were done by a terrific creative boutique in Atlanta called Crafted Crew. But this is an interesting ad for a new tractor because there's barely a picture of a tractor in it. But we're changing the way behavior feels. So it's funny, it doesn't feel like you're saving the planet. This is all about how you'll have as much power as you always had, you'll have the same performance, you'll have better fuel economy, and you'll be complying with the EPA. But there's a line of cotton in every one of these ads that says the EPA doesn't run your farm, you do. And that was a greatly resonant thing with the farmers.
Going into this exercise, all the time we have all these dealers, about 900 dealers in North America, and they're placing bets on what they're going to do in terms of equipment sales by placing orders for machinery, right? So we had an order book that basically at the time we were offering 2 technologies, now we're just on SCR, really to give ourselves some flexibility. A lot of risk associated with this. This was probably about a $100 million bet for us in terms of SCR technology and what that cost us to bring that to market. And so what happened was, as a result of the work that we did with Drumcircle and the agency, we put that in front of the dealers and made such a compelling case for, we really understand where the emotional center is for this whole thing. We understand how to market this technology. And actually what happened came out of our launch is our order bank flipped. It went from being 2/3 the old technology, 1/3 the new, to being the other way around. Okay? And our first full year of sales were up about 30%. And another nice thing is, is that what we've been able to achieve in terms of positioning the brand, right? So if AGCO is the parent brand that endorses and supports all these other brands like Massey Ferguson and so forth, we're really building a strong identity of technology leadership, and our emissions position is a key aspect of that. And what you're finding now is that our second biggest competitor in this space, C&H, Case New Holland, has followed us to this technology, and there seems to be a whole lot of almost inevitability to this technology. So we very much like the position that we're in and expect to continue to grow this category nicely.